Yo, welcome to Prison to Promise. I'm your host, Dr. Craig Waleed. Today I'm joined by the good brother Trent Griffin-Braff for a powerful conversation about transformation, resilience, and redefining what's possible. Trent shares how his early life and challenges led to incarceration, the moment that changed everything, missing the birth of his daughter, and how that became the catalyst for real change, you heard? From working as a janitor to becoming a successful entrepreneur recognized by Forbes. That's dope, y'all. Trent's journey is a testament to what can happen when determination meets purpose. We also talk about breaking cycles, defining personal success, building businesses that give back, and offering hope to those who are still behind the prison walls. This is a story of growth, grit, and the power of rewriting your own narrative. Let's get into it here on the Prison to Promise podcast. Let's go. I sure appreciate you, good brother. But thank you for taking the time to meet with me, man, on this platform. Um, Prison to Promise, the podcast. We have some podcasts that are being played in prisons all around the country. People are contacting me talking about how they heard this guy or that woman and how they're so inspired by those stories. And so my whole purpose, bro, is to capture your story, um, and get it out to the public, man. And
Course.
so maybe for people who don't know you, who've never talked to you, maybe you can just start off by, introducing yourself, telling people who you are, where you're from.
Gotcha. So, all right, so we'll kick it off then. So my name is Trent Griffin-Braff. I'm originally from the Bronx, New York, born in Manhattan. But now I reside upstate New York. My business is housed in upstate New York, the Albany, New York area.
Mhm.
And yeah, at the age of about 9 years old, we moved upstate, lost my father. So we moved from New York to upstate. So my mom had more family support.
Mhm.
Uh, Normal kind of childhood, for the most part, dealt with some things like father's death, dealt with, things like uh addiction within the household, family members, things of that nature. That I think is typical for a child born in the 80s that come from the places we come from. Like I think many of us seen those things.
Yeah.
Um, for a duration of my childhood, I lived with my grandparents, which was a unique experience, and it taught me a nice little balance. And my grandfather definitely taught me a lot about discipline during that time. Alabama, coming from Alabama, and the times he came from. And so, played basketball. Sports was my thing. Sports is what got me through high school, at least, because I was kind of good in basketball. And we were state champions 2 out of the 4 years in high school. So I kind of was pushed through school. I didn't really take it serious at all. But that was kind of my journey that set me up for me being incarcerated at the age of 19 with a 4 to 12 year prison sentence for selling
Wow.
drugs.
Wow. And that's remarkable, bruh, in the sense that your story sounds very similar to mine and so
Mm,
very similar to other people that I've talked to on this platform. But what stands out for me definitely is, you said that pretty normal childhood. However, you mentioned like some traumatic experiences, like losing your dad at an early age, addiction in the family. And what I know about those of us who've been incarcerated is we often have a number of adverse childhood experiences
mm,
early in our life before we get to prison. And so those are just two adverse childhood experiences that you mentioned. And then mentioning sports and how sports, really was your way of, I guess, kind of just pushing through and maybe expressing yourself on some levels, like so many of us young people. And that in and of itself got us through school. And so just seeing the correlation between all of our stories, yours and the countless other people that I've talked to, man, and then going to prison on a 4 to 12, I had a 4 to 12. I did 8 on it.
mm.
CR, number was 90B0400. Never forget it, bro. Been out
Yeah,
20 years now.
05A 1273. Never
Yeah,
forget
never forget.
it.
Absolutely. So, you went to prison in New York State. At what point did you start maybe looking at your life and trying to undo some of the things that helped you end up in prison?
For me, it came about after what really did it for me, man, I missed the birth of my daughter.
Mm.
I was sitting in county jail. I had just came home not even a year ago before that. And now I'm sitting in the county jail looking at a whole new charge. I missed the birth of my daughter during that period, my first daughter. And I just remember thinking like, man, is this gonna be my life? It kind of brought me back to so in New York, for the listeners who aren't familiar with New York, at one point there used to be a prison called Downstate. That was one of the prisons you would go into for like intake and get classified. And
Reception.
I just remember reception, yep, thank you.
Yeah.
And I remember a captain. One day we're walking through the tunnels going to the mesh hall, and he stopped us and he thanked us, and he said, basically thanked us for being there. He talked about how because of us, his family has a pretty great life. He's been able to pay his house off. He has a great retirement. Kids is in college, and then he ended it by saying, "And if I don't get a chance to build a relationship with you this time, don't worry. I'll catch you on the next one."
Oh.
And so, right. And so that statement still to this day has never left me, but it really hit hard when I missed my daughter's birth. And I'm thinking, is this going to be my life? Am I going to be the guy that he was talking about?
Mm.
And so that was the catalyst, man. That was literally the catalyst for all of the change. I made a commitment to myself. I ended up essentially that case at the Wade hearing, the evidence got suppressed. I'm released and I get honestly a real second chance. And it wasn't sweet because like my PO wouldn't let me drive. Like they're being tougher on me because of what I just got out of, obviously. And in their mind, I beat the system, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And in a lot of ways I did. Because I was dead wrong. It was just a legality that we were able to get it suppressed, right?
Yeah.
And so um that was the catalyst. And that's when I decided, like, I don't care. Like, I'm committed to doing whatever it takes to assure that I never go back there. And it just became a mindset change. It was, I will do whatever I have to do to avoid that. And what that looked like was taking temp jobs,
Yeah.
working jobs that I didn't want to do, sitting on a bus. I never thought I'd be on a bus. I never thought I'd even be doing temp jobs, to be honest. But I took those bruises and I did that for probably a good year. And then from there, that's when I got my first break was a janitor in a hotel at a Marriott. And essentially within 6 years, I went from the janitor to working my way to general manager
Oh,
and never looked back. And then after doing that for 2 years, I pivoted, started my own transportation company.
mhm.
And again, never looked back. Transportation company took off, was featured in Forbes as one of the top 1,000 entrepreneurs. I built a fleet of well over 80 vehicles. I had somewhere around 200 employees working for me at one time. We hit the ground running, and this all comes with no college education or degree. Just a lot of hard work, sweat, mindset change,
Yeah.
a curiosity to ask questions, always pushing the why, but more so a commitment to myself and my values, my goals, and where I was going. And I never let anything take me off that path. And the path I'm on today, I still won't let anybody take me off of it still to this day.
Right on. Wow, man, that is very inspirational, bro. And what stands out again for me is just that aha moment, a couple of aha moments. And as you were describing, missing the birth of your daughter, and then, the dialogue that the corrections officer laid on y'all. I was imagining in my head Mike Tyson throwing bolos. Those things
Mm.
is hitting you flush with your hands down. There's nothing you could do but just get rocked to get rocked. But after getting rocked, you made up your mind that I ain't gonna get rocked no more, and I'm about to do the rocking.
That's
Mm.
a fact.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and it sounds like
Yeah.
you just, like, took off from there. Again, it makes me think about, G Dep, the hip hop
Mm,
dude, G Dep.
mm.
One of his songs, he said, "I'm about to blast off right to the point." You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, yes.
What I saw you blasting off. And so today you are on your mission. Um, what would you tell someone, a young person or someone who's middle age or whatever, but they're
Mhm.
stuck in the cycles, man, and they seem
Mm.
to just can't break those cycles? What would you tell them?
Now we talking. So what I would tell them, there's a couple of things. I'm gonna tell them. First, I would tell them No one's coming to save you.
Mm,
So if you think your situation is just gonna up and change magically, it's not.
mhm,
And there's nobody coming to save you. Mommy and daddy, they're gonna do as much as they can for you, but outside of that, in all honesty, don't no man want to see you doing better than them. So ain't nobody coming to save you. You gotta save yourself. You gotta pull yourself up. That's
mm,
the first thing I would tell them. Second thing I would tell them is possible. 100% is possible. I don't care what your background is. I don't care about your educational level. I don't care about if you have a disability. It's possible.
mm,
It's possible because you can be better than you were yesterday. And
yeah,
as long as every single day you're working towards being a little bit better than you were yesterday,
mhm,
you're becoming a better human being,
right,
point blank, period, which will change your whole outcome. I would tell them that you got to see it. You got to have a vision for yourself.
mhm,
So, I mean, and when I say see it, you got to fucking see it.
yeah,
Like, feel it, touch
mhm,
it. I
mhm,
remember hearing Kobe Bryant talk about when he was a kid, he used to imagine what the arena smelled like. The
mhm,
the popcorn popping, the
mhm,
drink spilling on the ground, like seeing it vividly. And that's the same thing I did with my business. I seen my first vehicle before I owned it. I seen what the inside looked like. I knew what the the clientele base would look like. It was so vivid and real to me. And when it's vivid and real to you like that,
mhm,
that's when you could create it and make it be a reality. The third thing I would say is once you have a vision, the next thing is working towards it every single day. And so, meaning you need to create systems in your life. Every business, my business does good. The things I do in business thrive because I have systems in place that allow it to thrive.
mhm,
And so, for your personal life, you have to have systems, meaning consistency. I
mhm,
always tell people the one thing that jail did for me, it gave me consistency. We all know what time they're going to say on the child. We
yeah,
all know what time is programmed. We all know what time is rec. We all know what time is lock in. Like, if you can live in that level of schedule and consistency, when you come home and you have freedom, you decide to let it all go. But
mhm,
the thing you'll learn in life is the more dedicated and the stricter your routine is, the more freedom you'll actually have in the long term. And
mhm,
so building a consistent winning routine for yourself, because one thing for certain, life's gonna throw you some wild spins and twists. There's
indeed,
gonna be some up days, there's gonna be some down days.
yeah, man,
If you allow your emotions to take you off the rocker when it's up because you're so excited, or
mhm,
you beat yourself up when things are going down, either way it's gonna take you off your path. So you gotta learn to be emotionally even killed and go like this throughout everything. And
mhm,
for me, what I've seen is work is having a system that I do every single day, no matter how I feel, I'm still showing up and doing it. And
mhm,
so I believe if you incorporate those things, match with a curiosity to continue to learn, being a forever learner, taking time to read books, guarding this right here. Because
mhm,
the thing between your ears is the most powerful thing on this universe. Every single thing that's been created started in somebody's mind. And if you don't have a clear mind, then you can't make those visions come to life. And so you got to guard this, turn off the nonsense, get rid of the people who are liabilities in your life, put down the phone and the scrolling and lock into you. If you're willing to do those things, put your head down and grind for the next 5, 10, 15 years, I guarantee you'll be at a different point in your life.
yeah, I think we're done.
Hmm, hmm,
Yo, you hit it on the nose, man. And that so resonates with me, man. And I hope it resonates with other people. And the one thing that, well, everything you said, but starting with the fact that you have to see it. It has to be visceral, and that's what I did, I remember being
hmm,
incarcerated and somebody came in and they're like, you have to see your vision, and it has to be so real to you that you can almost touch it, feel it, smell it, and that's so real. And I know that when we have our vision, along with our emotional self aligned up, and then you've
hmm,
been practicing every day that discipline, which comes from that routine structure of prison. If you don't get it anywhere else, you can take that thing and flip it inside out like a dirty shirt and still use it,
hmm.
and still be fresh. So I really dig that, and that consistency in the discipline to be emotionally aware, or emotionally should I say in control of yourself, emotionally intelligent, so that you don't allow your emotions to dictate your behaviors, because you know you got to do what you got to do to get where you're trying to go, and I think so many of us get caught up in these emotions. We get the fuck it's, we get the I
Mm,
don't cares, we get the
mm,
I'm tired today, I don't want to do it. But again, going back to Mike Tyson, I remember Mike said, yo, I get up and I run early in the morning because I know the dude that I'm gonna fight, he ain't running. He ain't at
mm.
work. So I'm gonna be that much more ahead of him, you know?
Yes. Yes, brother. And that's literally the mindset and how it has to be. Shoot,
Uh,
keeping it with Mike. Mike said everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face.
yes, sir.
Right. And
Yes,
and
sir.
that's life. Life is gonna punch us all in the face. Like, but at the end of the day, are you gonna get up and keep fighting? Are you
Yeah.
gonna stick to your plan? And if you don't have a plan, I can almost guarantee you that's when you're gonna quit and lay on that mat.
Yep.
But if you got a plan, at least you know, all right, let me get up and execute this, and that. That's
Mhm.
going to keep you in that fight.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about, man. Every day we got to get up and fight the good fight.
And the willingness to pivot too, because you talked about
Mm,
pivoting, because sometimes our vision gets cut off from whatever reason, but if we still have that vision, we can find another route. It makes me think of like the GPS in our phone. If we miss the turn,
yeah.
what does it do? It continues to redirect
Reroute.
us back to the point. If there's a roadblock, it finds another way to get back to the point. And I think that that's what we have to do in our lives to be successful post incarceration. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? Staying with that analogy, the GPS, right? The reason it could reroute is because it knows where it's going.
Bang.
So you got to know where you're going, where you're headed, what are your goals, what the direction you're going.
Yeah.
Because if it can't reroute, if it don't know where it's going,
Right. It's just going to go in circles, or is it going to stop?
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
that's the oh, man, that's powerful, that's really powerful, and another piece you talked about, man, is you didn't say this, but it's about changing your habits, like you said, don't be scrolling and, don't be doing all this and that, get rid of the bullshit, and as well as the people who are not healthy for you, you know? When I was coming up, I was into drugs, I was into alcohol real heavy, my friends used to call me Cool C. All right. And yeah, because my name's Craig and I thought I was cool. So there I am. I'm cool shit. That was bullshit. You hear me? But not long ago, maybe like 2 years ago, a guy that I thought was my friend, for all these years, he says, once, he says, I wish we had the same old cool C. I don't like who you are today. You know what I did? Click, click, click. Yeah,
I'm with you. I'm
yeah,
with you.
yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, you want me to
I'm
be the
with you,
same
bro.
old yeah, no, I'm trying to do better for my life, for my future, and not for nothing,
Yes.
for the people who are watching,
Mm,
because there's
mm,
people who are
mm.
watching. I wanna see him go back. Oh, he said he changed. Oh, he think he's let's see, you know?
Yep.
And then
Because like we said, the reality is most people never want to see you do better. As a man, this is just as a man. As a man, the only man who ever gonna want to see you do better than him is your father.
yes,
And when you come to that conclusion and you understand that, like, yeah, there's gonna be on your as you're rising, you're gonna have a fan base, some people who support you, but you're gonna have a lot of secret haters too, or people who support you to you're doing better than them or better than they expected. And then all of a sudden now you change, you funny. But the reality is this, dog, if I didn't change, I'd be doing the same old things. And obviously, if you want that old version of me, you stuck in the old version of you. So
right,
there's really nothing here left for us anymore. And
right,
so, I like to equate things back to business because that's what I do.
yeah,
And that's why I always talk about liabilities and assets. And so there's people in your lives who are assets, people who bring value, and then there's people in your lives who are liabilities.
right,
And just like any good business is gonna limit the liabilities that are out there. They're gonna try to remove those. And
right,
so if there's people in your lives who are liabilities, you got to remove them.
that's right,
Now, I'm not saying, and I always like to tell people, I got people in my life who, I came up with, and some of these is my sandbox brothers.
yeah,
I love them to death.
mhm,
But at the end of the day, sometimes I gotta love you from afar though.
yeah,
And it don't mean that you don't never talk to people, you don't be around them, but it's situational.
yeah,
I'm around when I could be around, but I'm not going out of my way. And even when I'm around, there's no low vibrations. We're not talking about old stuff. We're not talking about even things that you're doing now that are low vibrational. If these aren't high vibrational contacts and moments, then eventually I will literally just love you from afar. Like you'll see me on social media. That's the only time you'll get next to me. And I think a lot of people have to incorporate that in their lives because oftentimes it's the people closest to you that are also the ones that's going to pull you down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so knowing who's in our circle or that are of high value, of high vibration, as you mentioned, versus who isn't. It's not about just loyalty and sandbox. It's really about giving life, you know. This is a great conversation, man. And so I'm thinking about like folks who are coming out of the penitentiary, folks who are in the penitentiary who might listen to this conversation, folks who might be in the community right now trying to find their way and thinking to themselves, yo, what Trent's talking about, what Craig is talking about, that's just out of my reach. You know,
Mm,
I don't see myself going there. I don't see myself doing that. You know, what can people do to make themselves better as individuals?
Great question. And that's a true point. Everything isn't for everybody. Everybody's vision of success looks different, and where you're going is different than where I'm going, and in between. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think for me, what I try to always tell individuals to identify what does success look like for them first.
Mhm.
Because at least if you know what it looks like, back to the GPS, at least we know or we can start to identify a route to get you to where you're going.
Yeah.
Um, I also say, in my opinion, that success is not really a destination. It's more a journey.
Mhm.
Because even look at yourself and the things you've accomplished. Look at myself, the things I've accomplished. Some people would say, oh, they did it.
Mhm.
But I know for a fact you're not done, just like I know for a fact I'm not done.
Right.
And so, in fact, oftentimes we don't take enough time to actually smell the flowers, like because we got this going on, the blinders. What's next?
Yeah.
Like, speaking of which, look, I'm gonna show y'all real quick. I'm in my office. Different awards that I've won over the years over here.
Yeah.
And I share that to say, like, at the end of the day, none of that shit matters. That shit don't do nothing for me. It sits on shelves somewhere collecting dust.
Mhm.
But my vision is moving forward. And so for individuals, anybody out there who doesn't know, where they're heading or they don't see themselves in our journey, that's great. That's our journey. But
That's
what we really want to see you do is figure out what's for you. And the one thing, and you could call them Allah, Jehovah, God, whatever you want to call your higher power that's out there. If you believe in a higher power, the vision that was given to you was only given to you.
for
And
you.
so my path isn't your path,
That's
but
right.
you got to be tapped into your spiritual side and take
Mhm.
the time to tap into that, tap into yourself, know yourself so
Mhm.
you can unlock that purpose that is within you. Because we were all born with a purpose, we were all born with some superpowers,
Yeah.
and the only person who can unlock it is you. So you got to take the time to do that.
And when you're locked into that and you start to bring those things forward, I think that's when true education begins to manifest. You know, when you start to tap into yourself and know and understand your own gifts and talents and how you can use those to make your life and the life of other people around you better, you know?
And that's when you're unstoppable. Who
Yeah,
who could stop you once you know what you're capable of? Can't
that's right.
nobody tell me nothing about things that I know because I
Only
know
you can
for
stop
a fact.
you.
Right, right,
Only you can stop you.
right.
And so, yo, man, we're coming up on the end of our time together. This has gone by fast, but it's been chock rich, full of jewels. You heard? But one of the things I'm thinking about is your journey. And thinking about your journey, if you could perhaps assign a title to your journey or a catchphrase to your
Have.
journey, yeah, what is that or what would it be?
So my tagline for my journey is from felon to Forbes.
Felon to Forbes, because you have felony convictions and you've been on Forbes lists.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you are what they call a high valued man.
I look at myself in that way. I look at myself in the top 1% in every aspect of my life, from my health to my relationships with my wife to my business endeavors, financial, like 100%. I look at myself in that way. Top 1% in everything I do.
And what kind of business are you doing nowadays?
So we do some transportation. So we do a lot of workforce development, transportation. We do driver staffing,
Mhm.
where you'll see drivers. look like they driving for another organization, but they're staffed through us.
Okay.
We also do so that's more back of the house work.
Mhm.
Front of the house work, we do a lot in prisons, jails, and in schools. And
Yeah.
so like literally we have business boot camp. It's the only business boot camp within New York State prisons.
Mm.
We also facilitate it virtually in some core civic facilities.
Oh, nice.
In addition to that, we do workforce development training in the same settings. We'll do certificate programs, 4 to 5 days in county jails, 6 weeks in docks facilities. In addition to that, we do programming inside of schools where we work directly with the business teachers and youth who are looking to learn business.
Mhm.
And we turn what the teachers are telling from book work and we bring in real lived experience aspects for the youth, in addition to doing like, after school programs around leadership development.
Mhm.
And in the near future, I'm creating an executive leadership coaching aspect of our business where we're going to work with people in the communities who come from underserved communities, coming home from jails and prisons, but we're going to be focused on teaching them how to be executives in the workforce, and creating those opportunities. And then on the flip side of things, we train employers. So we get paid to come in and teach HR leaders how to take advantage of hiring incentives that are out there, in addition to teaching their frontline management teams on how to have success with our populations, youth, people with disabilities, or individuals who've been justice impacted. And then through that, we pair the two worlds together. If we're training this side and we're training this side and we're introducing them to each other, it should be a happy relationship instead of there's a million workforce development training programs that they give to our peoples, but there's nothing for the other side. And so oftentimes they send us in, we get these low level jobs with no opportunities for advancement, and they're already looking at us a certain way with the bias and stigmas.
Mhm.
People ain't gonna last long. And so I'm just trying to use some of my lived experience of going from an entry level janitor to becoming an executive and teaching other people how I did that. But then I'm also teaching people how, same way I started a business from the ground up and went on to have the success in business, teaching people how to do that too. So creating different pathways.
That's fire, bro. That's fire. You bridging the gap for sure. And so, if people wanted to learn more about your business or your journey, or if they wanted to contact you, how can they do that?
So easy way you could learn a little bit more about me. If you're an incarcerated listener right now, um, if you have access to the Adobo app, you can actually put in prison bosses and prison bosses the podcast.
Mm.
And basically it's a podcast where you can learn more about me. I also do something similar. I usually interview individuals who are formerly incarcerated who are now bosses. And
Mhm.
so they share their journeys and give the jewels of the mindset that took to get there. But you'll learn a lot about me through that platform.
Mhm.
Um, Also, my company doing this work is called the Success Map Initiative.
Mhm.
You can always check that out online, Google it. And then my name, Trent Griffin-Braff. If
Mhm.
you literally just Google that, you I'm not hard to find. And
Right.
you can learn my whole journey literally right through Google. So that's those are the best ways to get in touch and contact us. And would definitely be open to some dialogue, letters. We're on the JPay, we're on the different communication systems. So if you communicate through your tablet, odds are you can find me just by looking up my name on there.
Yo, that's what's up, man. And so, in our last few minutes, bro, I think I've shot my load. Is there anything that I did not touch on that you'd like to touch on?
Um, Nah, honestly, the only thing I want to say, especially to our listeners that's incarcerated, um, remember those spaces are made for you to lose hope. And so there's gonna be some tough days. It's made to make the journey tough, but I want you guys to know that there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. They could break you physically, but don't let them break you mentally, because then they won. So keep this thing sharp. And you can exercise this every day. Even if you was in a box, as long as you have a book and access to some level of knowledge, you can continue to sharpen this every single day. So never allow anyone to break this down, because once they broke this, they broke your strongest tool. And so I want to just encourage everyone, keep your head high like your nose is bleeding, hold your head high, keep your spirits high as possible as you can. Try to look at things as the glass half full at all times, and
Mhm.
remember, we all got greatness in us. It's
Yeah,
just all pulling it out.
that's fire. And I'm thinking of you made me think of Nas and his song "Stay Chisel."
Mm,
Yeah, if a wise man, a fool, and a warrior were in the box, who would survive? He said, all of them, as long as they stay chiseled.
Come on now.
Keep
Come
it
on now.
chiseled. And yo, bro,
Come on now.
I'm gonna call it a wrap then. And I'm gonna say it's a pleasure meeting you.
I love it, bro. I love what you're doing. Congratulations on your successes and how far you've been able to take yourself already as well, bro.
Thank you,
Um,
bro.
I know you do this to shine the light on others, but you deserve your flowers too. So congratulations for all you've done as well. And thank you for this opportunity just to share my story. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Yo, you have a great rest of your day. Stay warm.
You too, brother.
All right, brother. Peace. Hey, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with me for another episode of Prison to Promise podcast. If you or someone you know would like to share their Prison to Promise story on this platform, please hit me up at drcraigwaleed@gmail.com. I'll spell it for you. That's DrCraigWaleed@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Peace.